Hello, this is Tina, otherwise known as Smiles1999. This is my very first opinion video. I hope you like it or at least get something from it. For this video, I'm taking a look back at my childhood. To give you an idea of the time period I'm talking about, my childhood was from the 80s to early 90s, so if you were also a kid during this time, you'll know a lot of what I'm talking about. The first thing I want to talk about is the Disney movie Oliver and Company. I remember I was crazy about this movie when I was a kid. Not only did I have the cassette soundtrack, I also had a picture book that I read over and over again. I just couldn't get enough of this movie, no matter what format it was in. It's definitely another fond childhood memory. The movie was actually on TV the other day, and I thought I would watch it as I haven't seen it in years. Boy, was I surprised! Not only did I fall asleep watching the movie, but things I used to find amazing are now dull or worse. The characters I used to know and love now seem like rip-offs. Every time I saw the dogs in Oliver's gang, I couldn't get over how much they reminded me of the dogs from Lady and the Tramp. Given they aren't exactly the same, and the voices are different, but they're very similar. I also remember being in love with the music, especially as I listened to the cassette over and over again, but now the songs seem dated and boring. I don't know what has been lost through the years, but this movie, which was once a childhood favorite, is now something that can't even hold my attention. The next thing I want to talk about is Disneyland. Now I'm going to stop right there because I know a lot of people are probably yelling, "What the hell are you talking about? Disneyland is awesome, it was and it will always be." Well, that's great, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. As far as I'm concerned, Disneyland just isn't the same anymore. Since I've grown up, I have had friends or family mention wanting to go to Disneyland, but I never understood why. When I was a child, I loved the place. Almost all kids do. If I had kids myself, I would love to go, but only for their sake. As for myself, Disneyland holds absolutely no interest. I just can't see why a grown person would want to visit there unless they are taking a child. The only possible reason I can think of is for nostalgia, but that just isn't enough for me. The rides and characters and shops were cool when I was a kid, but now they've lost their allure. I can't see paying $40 or more to visit a place that holds nothing for me. Disneyland just makes me feel old, even a bit creepy, as if I'm visiting a daycare center but don't have any kids there. Like Disneyland if you will, but for me it's a lost cause until I have children to take there. My next topic is something else that's also known and loved even to this day, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm talking the original system, the NES. I remember getting it as a child and I played it all the time. I actually played with it until it stopped working. At the time, it was the coolest thing around. My favorite games to play with Duck Hunt, of course with the Zapper, and the Super Mario Bros. Trilogy. Being nostalgic about the system, I purchased one a while back, complete with the Zapper, NES Advantage controller, and my old favorite games. I played it for a short while, but it just didn't have the pull that it used to have. Somewhere through the years, the NES has lost its pull to me. I don't blame the games, as those are easily available to play through a computer using an emulator, or now even on a console again using the Wii. I don't have much of a problem playing the games on an emulator on my PC, but somehow playing them as they were meant to be played on the original system with the original controllers has just lost its flair. I can play NES games on an emulator just fine, but I quickly bored them using the original equipment. For some reason, the NES system and controllers just aren't what they used to be, in my eyes anyway. Next is something you probably wouldn't expect me to have played with, as I'm a girl and it's not really a girl toy, but it's Hot Wheels, and I was really into them when I was a kid. However, my big beef is that they just aren't what they used to be. I remember when I was a kid, they had all sorts of cool, different, weird Hot Wheels. They used to have animals, machines, monsters, and I loved them. And actually, I'm kind of upset that I don't still have them because I don't know what happened to them, and I wish I did. I've looked on eBay, all over the internet. I can't find them anymore. All the Hot Wheels are these days is just regular cars that are already in production, maybe something from a TV show or a movie. But they definitely aren't the same. They've lost their interest to me, and I think that's a real shame. Next on my list are Pogs. Do you remember them? I certainly do. I'm kind of surprised that I do because they weren't around for that long, but I definitely do. They're round pieces of cardboard, plastic, or metal. Metal was mostly the slammers, and they were suddenly all the rage. I remember playing on the playground, and Marbles was the cool game for two people that involved accessories you had to buy. But then all of a sudden, it was Pogs. I don't know where the craze came from or how it got started. I just know that one day, boom, everyone had them. I didn't give in to the craze right away. But after all my friends were playing, even my neighbors, I finally gave in. I remember trying to collect all of the newest and coolest Pogs and Slammers, and then praying I wouldn't lose them in a game. The games themselves were intense and heated, and there were the highs of winning Pogs and the lows of losing those that were your most favored. Looking back on it, I can't see what everyone was so crazy about. I can barely even remember how to play the game. How did it get popular and why did it stay that way? I have no idea. Pretty much like pet rocks, this is another fad that has faded to dust. Last thing that I want to talk about is Legos. I remember having 2 buckets of Legos when I was a kid, and I thought that they were the coolest things in the world. I would spend hours planning and then building something, then run around to show it to everyone so they can marvel at my ingenuity and imagination. These toys are still around, but they just aren't the same. First of all, the Legos themselves have changed. The Legos I had were considered the classic set, which not only can you not even buy at a store anymore, but you can't even find them on eBay unless you're really, really lucky. While the basic blocks are still around, the amount of specialty parts has been drastically reduced. I remember doors, at least 2 or 3 kinds, windows, which also had different versions, propellers that had bases that made them actually turn, roof tiles, face pieces, eyes, and mouths, and not only wheels, but wheels that actually had rubber tires, rotated, and were connected by an actual axle. Not to mention the Lego people that came standard. I remember having a selection of heads, torsos, feet, and even hats, part of the standard Lego collection. When you look at the basic Lego kits that are around today, these things either aren't there at all, or barely even exist in the larger collections. Not only has what comes in a Lego bucket changed, but so also has the concept behind their use. I remember when all you had was the bucket, it was up to you to decide what to build. There was a little something called imagination that was needed. Sure, there might have been a booklet or 2 that gave a few suggestions like how to make a car or helicopter, but that was pretty much it. It was up to you to decide what to make and how to build it, which is great, because that gives you all the more satisfaction when you finish building something really cool. These days, Lego is all about the kits. If I go to a toy store, I will see a few starter buckets next to like a ton of kits. Where's the focus here? Why is this changed? Now, instead of using imagination, kids are buying a pre-packaged set and following directions. Where's the imagination? Legos aren't just about building something cool, it's also about the imagination and the planning. What used to be about creativity and thought has now boiled down to not much more than action figures and playsets that have some assembly required. What a crock! I can't believe that Lego has fallen this low, and even more, that society has accepted it. Such a horrible shame. Well, there you go. There's my rant about my childhood, things I fondly remember, but they just aren't the same anymore. Hopefully, if you were a child during the same time, you can relate and leave some comments. Even if you weren't a kid at this time, I'm sure you knew others who were, and feel free and chime in with what you think. Anyways, to all who've listened to this, thanks for watching and have a great day.